All right, let's do it. Well, my sweet friends, I am so blessed to have Tracy Clark back, the Reverend Tracy Clark, and wow, what a time, what a timeline, and what a time live.
Timelines.
That's right. Wow. First of all, thanks for coming back on. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I think I'm like everybody else, looking from the mountain, looking down, going, oh, when's this going to stop? But at the same time, seeing that there's a reason and I really seeing and understanding we all have to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves for sure right now. Well, a lot more gentle with ourselves with what
Yes.
we're holding in the world.
Um, the energies are like nothing else, nothing else.
Well, that's a really interesting too, because a lot of people, they forget the whole energetic perspective, right? We live in this universal energy and people stop right there and go woo woo. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did you see the matrix? Like I've been talking a lot about that again, bringing it back for people.
Yes.
You were just saying it before, red pill, blue pill, is we are all connected. So we are all living in this matrix. And what I've noticed going on right now with every full moon or every eclipse, I'm not an astrologer, that's not, but I notice it has a lot to do with how we clean out,
Yep.
is it's pushing your belief systems, right? Which create imprints, creates filters. So your perceptions are all your filters. So a lot of people have filters that are like all the way out to here. So they can't really see what's going on in the world. So the energies of the world, the intensity of the planet, what we're seeing, even unfold, where I call it the Home Alone phase, where people are like, did that really just happen? Like,
Yeah.
am I really witnessing this? So what the intensity of the energies or the filters are coming off, the perceptions are changing, our truths are changing. And it's, you and I said this before the show, is I really believe in 71, when everything transpired with WF and the gold standard, that you want to know what it's like with a world without universal God, love, energy, we're living in it.
Yeah.
And now we got to go back to number one, connection and source and divine God, whatever you want to call it, but back to that love. At all costs, we're going to be tested. We're going to be really tested over the next year.
Yes. That has come through so clear. Like I was telling you before we started recording, everyone watching, I have heard and seen between now and November, and really that's just going to kick it off, like you were saying, into the winter. It is going to feel like hell on earth. It will be where people lose hope. It will be where people lose life. It will be where people lose their wealth and it's essentially losing everything. And I've just been prompting all my friends to prepare spiritually, get your spiritual practice in line, like get it on lockdown right now.
I'm goosebumps head to toe. It falls in line to confirm. And this is why we love having these conversations, because when we do talk, and we haven't talked for a little bit, then we find we're getting same messages, and that's confirmation, right? Yeah. And that's what people need to understand when they listen to something like this. But I told you, I got the message, get in the best spiritual and physical health you can before the fall. And I've been sharing that with my community. And I, like you say, you kind of, even on the financial front, I really believe they're going to try to do a little more manipulation, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold it through November, December, and January. And I always laugh because, we see these things in spirit, but timing sucks. Timing is up to the collective, right? So we're like, come on, people. But yeah, you got to get right in here. And people laugh at that, joke at that. Well, that's why, because you've been living in a world without connection, a godless world, basically. Yes. And that word triggers people, but it's not your religion, guys. It's your inner connection.
Yes.
And that's where we're going back to. That's this whole shift, and why there's always Armageddon. There's always talk of destruction and end times, because that's how we build as humanity. We got to wipe out to learn.
Yes.
That's kind of the hard way, though.
It does feel like the hard way. It's here's what I'll say negative, but just it does feel negative side of viewing things. Our food is fake, the air is fake, the weather is fake, our politics are fake, the news is fake, the media, everything is fake, and it's making people weaker, dumber, sicker.
Can I say something? The food, funny, I want to share. So I was born in 71. Okay. Yeah, I'm 29. I like to pretend. But I remember, okay, so remember in 71 when that's all this shit that happened. I'm like, I must have come in at that time for something because I was always a different, unique kid.
Yeah.
The 80s, I remember in the 80s, the big push from all the food companies, sugar-free, fat-free, sugar-free, fat-free. Remember everything? My mom would come home and every salad dressing would be sugar-free, fat-free. And I'm like, this thing tastes like chemicals, disgusting. But she used to make really good like homemade dressing. So I would stick with, those. And I'm like, isn't this interesting? And why do we have so many overweight? They were priming us for more sickness, right? Through the food industry.
Yes.
People, they blame, meat. No, farm fresh meat is actually really good for you. We know that. It's like fasting is good for you. We know that but all that is like hooey wooey. But think about that. That was the other area. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was the other area where they got us with
the food.
Remember that they were programming. Now people are like, oh, if I eat fat, I'm going to get fat.
Right.
All their food's loaded with sugar. And
even my kids, I heard this morning talking to my wife, talking about calories and why in Texas, there's a lot of overweight. Where I came from in the Northwest, more outdoors, a lot of people out. I saw that there was better shape. Even when I was a reporter in San Antonio was rated, I think, the second obese city in the United States in 2008 or 2007. And I think it all has to do with the foods. And so my kids were talking about calories. My wife's like, it's not calories. We need calories. It's the type of calorie and how much calories versus activity and all these things. And the food has been such a massive distinction for us. So we were eating grass-fed. We're buying grass-fed meat from the grocery stores. But when I'd bring it home, it smelled weird. It tasted gross. And like, what is going on? And so we ordered farm fresh, pasture raised meat that gets delivered. And it is the highest vibe. I mean, my energy or the vibe, I feel like this animal was in soul contract saying, have me, I am healthy for you. Like, it's been this beautiful, from the chicken to the beef that we buy.
The eggs.
To the eggs. Yes. And I'm like I felt immediately elevated when I eat this.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and we were buying all organic pasture, but from the grocery store chain. And then I'm thinking, if you're not even buying it's like the density level is unbelievable.
You also notice you feel satisfied and full longer.
Yes. I feel stronger, fuller, more present. Yeah.
Which also, people always say to me, Tracy, I need to be a vegan or vegetarian. If that works for you, go for it to connect, but it's actually a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
It really is. And I say it's whatever your body, because I make my trips to the farmers, everything in my fridge, and it comes from, my meat comes from the farmer directly. I can drive, people always say, why do you make this most incredible turkey? I'm like, because I see them running around the yard over, and I you see all the animals, right? And it's when you walk up to their little store to pick up what you want or what you order to your home, it's everything not in the food, and you can taste it and it works with your body. So all this misinformation, and funny you said about calories, and this is where I say programming, this is so part of deprogramming, right? What we've learned and what the junk they programmed us for school and banking and food, especially. So there's this doctor, I think it's Dr. Jason Fung. I think that's his name. Hopefully I get it right. But he's a big intermittent fasting doctor. Anyways, he says something that I have to tell you energetically is brilliant. So when you understand energy is energy. So your body doesn't understand if you're in fear mode or excitement mode. Same energy to the body, right? It's the same energy. So it reads it. So a lot of times people think your body, there's certain things how your body reads energy on a scale up, down. And I was listening to him one time, and he's brilliant to listen to, a little dry, whatever, but he's great. He says, I don't know who created this whole calorie in, and then you got to create a deficit, because he says that's a bunch of crap. Because he goes, basically, your body doesn't count calories when it comes in. He's like, somebody made this up. Who made up how many calories is in that piece of meat?
Right.
He says your body, what it does, and it's true because I work with the body energetically all day long. The body brings it in and then it reads it as a vibration, right? It's not about, we've been conditioned calories in, calories out. Your body doesn't, it's not like you have a clock on it that says you took this many calories. It goes, oh, what do I do with that? How do I process it? How do I move it through? That's why there's all these things around insulin and bread and food things. And that's why there's so much misinformation. And everyone's like, well, you got to take less calories in and burn them. Well, who's saying that? Because then people that's the myth right there. Yeah, oh, I'm eating a higher fat diet, but I'm eating good proteins and I'm eating avocados and I'm eating whatever. And he's like, but it's true. You don't have a calorie counter. You don't. And your body's going to take a calorie in different than something else. So energy is energy. And the body is just trying to decide, how do I move that? How do I process that? And now no one's listening to their body. If you've gained 40, 50, 60 pounds over the last 2 years, you're doing something, you're not listening to your body. It's telling you, like, I can't assimilate and process what you put in. Like, you went in, you put the food in from the grocery store and you were like, I want to vomit. This tastes disgusting.
Right.
Because you can taste the chemicals, you can taste the processing, all the hands that it went through is on that product.
Yep.
You go to the farmer and you're going, like you said, they treat them with humane. They treat them humanely.
Yes.
And it's no different than, I'm sorry, all the vegans, they're going to get mad at me, that preached and yelled.
Because I have something to say about vegan.
They're like, what? No, but this is where I got, my body's a temple. My body's a temple. I only eat this. Meanwhile, okay, I'm like, you're great. You're sick. And your processing center isn't off. That's your body's saying. And they come up to all these things, but they go get 3 of these. 3 of these. So your body's a temple. Why'd you get this? I want to travel. So your body's a temple, but you'll go put in as much of this. Your body's not a temple. You're working with enemy spirit. You're not working with your connection to God. Because if you're working to your connection, you'd be listening to your body. Just like you said, oh, this tastes good. I feel full. I feel, oh, this tastes. Body says, I know how to work with this, Lucas. So now I'm going to move it through properly. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got a little bit of muscle going on here.
Yeah.
Now your body knows how to move.
And I have to say, this is something that's come through just as you're talking. And this is something that there's 2 points I want to make. The first thing on veganism, everyone do what you feel called to. However, the narrative of that, the animal soul and these conscious beings, to say that a plant is not conscious.
I know Karen has feelings when you rip it out of the ground.
Everything is conscious. All life is conscious. Everything is consciousness. And just because we don't deem the plant, look at what a tree does. A tree will bend towards light. You're telling me that it doesn't know light from darkness? It knows if it stays in the dark, it dies. So it will bend and lean. Plants move towards light. This is consciousness.
Where I live, and it's minus 100 in the wintertime, the trees lose their leaves and they pull themselves in.
They pull in, yes.
Right? And they get enough of their nutrients so they can survive the winter, and then they let everything go when they bloom.
This is consciousness. This is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And this belief structure that animals have souls or animals feel pain, to say that the plant does not is asinine. And this is what I was, when you're talking, I'm like, oh, okay, I see this now. Jesus says, greater love, there is no greater love than this, that a man lays down his life for his friend. So to give one's life for a friend is the greatest love. And these animals that know their soul contract, that live in these places of love and service for others, are giving themselves willingly on a soul contract level, as are the plants on a soul contract level. And if we reject that love, we have rejected love energetically from us. We have rejected their love. We've created more rejection of love. And so this whole narrative that has come in that animals are conscious, but plants are not conscious, is, to me, it's unfathomable. I can't understand how. I mean, I understand that there's some blockers in the consciousness, but it's like, these are all conscious beings.
They're conscious beings, but everybody's seen The Lion King. It's called Circle of Life. You mean to tell me you're going to go to a lion and say, You eat meat because this is how a lion functions. They're big, they're strong, they part of the cycle of life. Oh, I think, no, you're not supposed to eat that antelope over there. So you got to go become a vegetarian. Not like,
Right.
are you kidding? You are born a certain way, and that is because of the cycle of life. And now we've been, eat how you want to eat, as long as you're healthy and you're happy.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
the arguments is what you and I are saying is they don't make sense, but people want to be so right in that belief system. And rather than stepping back, the animal kingdom is teaching us the circle of life. Yes. The problem that people get is we're eating the wrong kind of food. We're eating, like you said, these big grocery chains. We should be getting back to farmers, getting your milk from the farmers, getting your eggs from the farmers. We should be helping the farmers, getting your proper wheat from the farmers, not getting all this stuff shipped in from all over the world that has who knows what sprayed into it. That's the issue. It's not how you eat, but again, circle of life, which fuels you. Like I always joke, I'm like a meatitarian. People laugh at me. That's what I say. But when I switch that way and how I eat, I connect even clearer. So
yes. Yeah, I agree. And the just want the spraying, I was saying before we started recording, and I don't know if you're watching this and you are listening on podcast, message us or message me. If you're watching on YouTube, write in the comments. I have seen so many dead bunnies. We buried baby bunnies in our backyard, dead birds, dead snakes, dead turtles. In Texas, there's turtles, dead turtles. And these aren't roadkill. Nothing killed them. I looked at this one bunny and it was dead. And I'm like, what's going on? Nothing had eaten it. Nothing had pierced it. It was just laying there dead. And we found 3 of them. My brother in Arizona saying the same thing, full grown birds just dead on the ground. So something is either frequency frying these animals or spraying, they're poisoning these animals, or something is happening right now. Yeah. And those who are still listening to the media, and I did a post this morning, media is my God, the ego God, me, dia or Dios. And Jesus hangs on the cross and says, mi Dios, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And I think many are going to wake up and cry out the exact same thing. They have been forsaken by this egocentric, narcissistic, reptilian, satanic, dark consciousness, AI, Borg system that is leading them all down to a nothingness, a no identity. And eventually they'll wake up too late.
Well, and that's what we were saying, you and I being sci-fi nuts. What happened in Star Trek? The Borg consumed and consumed and consumed, and many of them, they couldn't break free. A few did. Like the captain, but he was more aware, more awake, more understanding what was going on in the world. But many of the others you saw them, right? They were consumed. And I thought it was really interesting that you're saying this. And the new Star Trek is focused around, again, the Borg trying to take over. And it's, understanding that, right? So it's, we plugged into that matrix and we're all unplugging. And a lot of people are waking up too late, and it's really sad. We're seeing it, like you were talking about with the animals. Yeah, it'd be great to see people's comments. And I always love it when people comment. And anybody listening, guys, the more you comment, I'm going to tell you something's changing energetically. And I always do this on my TikTok, comment, like, and they do, because one, you're not going to feel alone. You won't feel crazy. Yeah. Other people will resonate with what you're saying. And we need the global collectiveness in comments in that way, because when you start to hear that, we have birds disappearing, or we have animals, like this is happening, or, whatever is moving forward, you start to realize it's not just your area, like where you live or I live. We start to see the global shift.
Yes.
And the more we do that, that's how we come together. That's how we stay in our arc together, and that's how we bring our communities together, by having these conversations. And then people commenting, and so often people are like, oh, I was going to. I'm like, it's so important right now, because like what you just said, if we can't be jumping out of the ark, guys, and it's really easy, because those waves are going to get really big, and you're going to see. I'm sure you have beautiful children. Like, this has to be devastating for them to see.
Yeah, it's fascinating. My daughter, my oldest, is like a Dr. Dolittle. She is so connected to the animals and talks to them and names them all. And and she's the one, she's like, we got to bury him. We got to bury, it's in, yeah, they're,
It affects them
it
because they
does. I don't, it's hard to describe how, but it does affect them. It's like a
Yes.
frequency. It's like somebody turned the dial just a little bit off and they feel it.
They do. And it's that space where that also, you know, the animals in the ark, if you want to look at it that way, when the human, there's only so many of us that can go into the ark, and it's going to be rolling. I saw that vision a few years ago, and all these people like swimming around in these lifetimes, but they can't get in because, again, back to even the Matrix, it's a choice.
Yes.
It's a choice. Which one are you going to take? And it's a very interesting time. Good to be alive, but at the same time, I actually want to hear, because you and I did a show on this on my platform, and I want to circle back because they're just showing something. So, you know, the truth or moment, you and I talked about this. What is truth? And truth is always about whatever's true for you at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of clients send me things with so-called truthers where they go, it's a movie, it's done, get over it, just get over it. Just stop putting your time in there, just get over it. And I'm like, that's a pretty arrogant thing to say, because we're untethering from these experiences. We're realizing we're going through a grieving process. We're going through, oh my God, like people wake up, I've been duped or I've been lied to. And it's a grief. And if you just say, oh, get over it, it's a movie. Well, The Matrix was a movie, sure. But we've been living in this Matrix movie for thousands of years. So you're supposed to say, oh, they killed Jesus. And if you were there at that time, you say to the mother, just get over it. Like when your family members are dying and your loved ones are dying, like how many people I get every day that I hear are dying and heart attacks, like, oh, just get over it, it's a movie. Like, I don't know if you've seen some of that, but I get it sent to me from my clients, and I just am shaking my head there, because you've got to work through the process to continue to evolve and understand what's happening.
Yes. The phrase is coming to mind is the love of many will wax cold.
Wow.
Love of many will wax cold.
Wow.
For the sake of being right, they lost the love. They lost the love.
That's power.
And Q says you are watching in present time a movie, not you watched a movie. This is present. This is presence. And the love of many will wax cold. I
think this is that time. It's brilliant, and having to have, guys, like, so much more compassion, right? We've got to find this level of compassion at a new level. And if we're going to bring more people into the arc and help them, you have to understand that. And I really see this with a lot of us that have been aware for a long time. People say, how can we help? You're going to be called, I believe, and to help these people that go, can I come in the boat now? I see it, like, is there a ladder to help me in the boat?
Yes.
We can't jump in and bring them in the boat. We got to pull them up the ladder into the boat.
Yes.
What do you feel about that? Like,
I 100% agree. I've been talking for a long time, even when I was in the religious structure. God showed me that the Spirit of God in Genesis chapter 1-2, it says, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The ark rested upon the water. Jesus walked upon the water. And those that are in the water are either going to drown, or those that are upon the water will be able to rise, lift them up. But we have to be standing on a solid structure. Yeah, there has to be something that we are grounded to, which is, I believe, the love of God. And there's no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear. So and I think even when I hear that just get over it or move past your emotion quickly, that's a trauma response that people that don't, like, maybe it wasn't safe for them to show emotion when they were younger, and they just, like, don't show it, like, get over it, tough it out. But this is not the time to tough anything out. This is the time to heal everything, because everything is going to be brought to the surface and is being brought to the surface. And it's so beautiful. Even while you were talking, I'm like, oh, okay, this is so cool. I was telling my wife, I just woke up. I felt low today. I felt the energy so dense. And I told my wife, I was like, I kind of feel down today. She's like, I know, I can tell why. And I'm like, I don't know why. Let me sit and think about it. I said, almost I feel alone, even though I know I'm not alone. Consciously, I know I'm not alone, but I feel alone. And then when you said the arc, like the energy of the arc, like and I will go, oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Like I just needed to be reminded that this is what it is. It's not physical proximity. It's an energetic connection back to one another, back to the light, back to the love.
So true. And that's why our inner work, and that's why there's so much, oh, those are woo-woos. Oh, they're weird. What? Wanting to love humanity, wanting the best, wanting to support, not wanting to, step on each other. And these times energetically, I have to say, I've been in this world for a long time. And I always am surprised. Every month they get more intense and more intense. You think they can't get more intense, right?
Right.
But people, and I've noticed I don't know if you've noticed this. I noticed so people, it's like the closets are getting opened every month differently. And did you see this little crumb over here? Let's just make sure that's gone. So old people are showing up, or memories of them, like all these imprints that we've had in our body that worked for the last 2000 years and how we function, they're also getting purged. So it's like, okay, people are saying, I want to sleep all day, or I'm crying all day, or I'm having a lot of nightmares. Like there's a lot of energetic attacks happening at night right now, where people are feeling paralyzed. And I know I grew up with that as a child. So I work with a lot of people with that, but they're getting for more and more people. Am I crazy? No, we're purging the closet so you can have more light, more love, more connection to help your fellow man.
Yeah. Yes. It's so interesting. I'm fascinated, and I can't be the one to break it. You can't be we can't. And we've tried to break it, this addiction to the spell of the politician. And isn't it? It's like they're addicted to the spell of the politician.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I mean, maybe just in the West. I can't speak for the East, but certainly in the West, they are addicted to the spell of the politician. I'm like, who are these people? Who declared you as the Most High? Certainly not me. Certainly not my fellow man. Certainly not the humanity that I know.
Well, and it's like, look where I live. One man says, no, you can't travel. And I'm going to stay because I'm this narcissistic a-hole. And so he keeps putting it in. And I'm like, okay, so if you guys aren't being paid off, one, why don't you walk across the house? Because now he's gone. And two, why don't you companies just say that's not law? We're not following it.
Yep.
So you're right. They're all this whole, but again, what has been, back to even the Matrix, what has been this, we're the nanny state. We're here to take care of the programming over and over, which you and I grow into from our parents. And they really solidified it over 51 years ago. Let's create this. We care about you. We're going to do social programs. We're going to, meanwhile, they're not doing any of that. You get bones, right? It's that, what was that? There's this great movie on Prime. Was it The Devils? The Devils. I think that's what it's called, The Devils. And it's actually very well done. They call him that McDreamy guy from what was it, Grey's Anatomy? I forget all these people. I haven't watched those shows forever, but the dark haired, he's in it. But they show current banking. They show politicians in banking, and they talk about it. And he has this great line where he's like, this guy's realizing what politics, banking, all the corruption. And he says, they call us the devils for a reason. We have 100 people. We'll give 97 bones and 3 we don't care about. And he talks about, and it's actually brilliant if you want something fun to look at, to understand. And they show real footage from real time. Like it's somebody's seeding stuff out there, but it's true, right? So they seeded that but we're only going to give you a bone. So you think we're doing something, you get a bone, and everyone's like, well, so then they just gradually transferred all their power to the nanny state. And now what we're seeing, right, is here's the way I say the positive of it. Now the truth of how all these bodies, when you wake up, you see, we all knew it anyways, but it's so in your face.
Right.
It's so in your face. So that's part of, I believe, the higher power, God's plan of saying, you really need to see it so it never happens again. So you never hand over your sovereignty and your power again, and your ability to choose.
Right.
It's
so interesting. Even while you're sharing that, I'm like, Trump has been doing these rallies every other week or 2 weeks. He's getting 35,000 people consistently, tens of thousands of people. What other human on the planet right now is getting consistently
Our,
tens of thousands
okay,
of people showing up.
I have to, you want to laugh? Our guy decided to do this kind of cross country
Uh-huh.
tour.
Yeah.
His first stop was at this beautiful Aboriginal space. And they were drumming like, get out, you're not welcome here. Like, get out. Like, those drummers are brilliant. I grew up in a reserve. I love listening to the drummers, but they can sing. And I don't know, this guy had it down pat. He had to leave and cancel every city. There was so much backlash at him. He couldn't even get out of his car.
Yes.
And you're standing there saying that everybody loves you, like you're in delusion, and you have the same thing going down there. So I thought it was funny. These people, they're creating this, everyone loves them, yet proof's in the pudding. Your guy can't go out, our guy can't go out, yet you've got Mr. T out there with thousands of people saying, please speak for us, please.
Unbelievable. It's in the spell is so ironic, and I use that word carefully.
It's a spell. It's a curse.
So ironic. It is.
Yeah, it's a spell. It is actually, I teach on curses, witchcraft spells, black magic. And I can tell you this body, they talk about ritual sites for a reason, because they do bring in curses, witchcraft spells, black magic, and they do it through the media, right? Programming. They do it through everything they see in the school, programming. And that's why I say we have to unlearn, and you have to do it in bite-sized chunks, because you've been programmed. So you've been put under that hypnosis, and it's hypnosis. Yeah. You're right. You're 100% right.
It's fascinating. The time that we are entering, I'm excited about, and I'm also nervous. I'm a little nervous about, quite frankly. I mean, as I'm thinking to myself, I feel nervous about the other people around me, not necessarily me or my children or wife. I know I'm going to be good. I know you're going to be good. I know many will be good, but they're, like I was saying, they are predicting this summer in the United States to be the summer of love meets fuck around and find out. That's what they're saying. And people on the antithetical side, whatever that may be, is going to meet with equal force and measure. Yeah. And we're going to see something, I think, that the world's not prepared for, not ready for.
No. And that's because they've not done their inner work.
That's right.
And they're following and giving away their power to these authoritative bodies, which nobody should do that. And if you are an authoritative body of something, you should be held to an account like nobody's business. And that never happened. And it's interesting you say that with the summer. I had a bunch of people probably about 2 months ago reach out and say they notice a shift in the energy field. Like if they're going for walks and stuff, they have to be on more heightened alert. Yep. And I said, yep, I noticed it too. And I noticed, like, my dog is the most lovable little teddy bear. Like, he's just, I'm going to kiss you and love you all day long dog. But I noticed he was even on alert with a few people. They felt me kind of he went into like Cujo mode. Right. So I was like, he knows, and I could see so basically what I say to people is, you're not crazy. It's exactly what we say. Our radars have been pulled up. It's part of what's going on in the energy. So it's like we have these little telescopes because there's a whole section of people all throughout the world that, whether you want to call them ultra or whatever, but their switches are going to start going off, and they're going to be doing things where I see most of the aware way being very fine, but you got to listen to your radars. Maybe I'm not going to go there today, or maybe I'm not going to do this.
This is so important. Yeah. I'm so glad you're saying this. Yes.
And it is important because no one's talking about it. They think, oh, that's weird, or why do I feel that? Because it's true. And I will give you another confirmation. I was talking to a friend of mine I've known for about 20 years, and we were speaking about a month ago, and he brought this up. He's an intuitive too. And he said, have you noticed the amount of instability in people right now? I said, oh, through the roof. And I told him exactly what I'm telling you. And he goes, yeah, I've been warning my clients and they think I'm crazy. I said, no. I said, you are going to see things that jaw-dropping, and you want to listen to that intuition. And it's not about fear. It's about listening so you can be guided out and let those people deal with what they have to deal with. You don't need to be caught in the crossfire. Even if you're walking, running, exercising, if you feel you got to cancel that concert, you cancel it, you do whatever. Like I can't, we're not allowed to fly, obviously, in our country. We can't, even within the country. But it was really interesting because I was hoping, if they're free, I have this thing in the family we do in the summer, and everything in me is, don't even if you can fly, don't even get on a plane.
Mm.
Don't even get on the plane. And I was going, okay. And we're in the same country. So there's this heightened, like our antennas are
Yes.
scopes, and they're getting stronger because you can feel it, right? You go in and you're just backed up. I can sense somebody a block away, and then he kind of feels it. And then we're going, okay, and cross the road, turn around. We just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
People need to realize they're not. So often we second guess ourselves and we say, oh, we're crazy or something's wrong. And I just say, I'd rather be in the crazy camp because we have beautiful, loving friends. Like we get to talk and have this space and we're aware. And so what if something doesn't pan out right away? When I was talking about the financial hoopah that was going, I've been talking about it for 7 years. I don't know why. I was talking about prepping 7 years ago. And I said, I didn't know the time. I knew why, because Spirit was, I was just way ahead of the party. But I have this saying, I'd rather be really early than late to the party. So Spirit's like, okay, you're really early. But we don't timing, we don't know.
Yep.
We don't know timing. We just know that we got to listen. And I think that's the big teaching. And that's why they don't teach it in school. Because now if we taught and we're learned this with our connection, game over. These guys, you would never give your power away to them. You would never even allow us to get to where we are today.
Right. Right.
Never. It wouldn't be allowed.
It's oh, it's exciting. I know the good is coming. It's just going to be the darkest night before the most brilliant dawn. It is coming, and everyone just hold on. Hold on to what you know inside. Hold on to what you know is true. Like Tracy said, it's your body, spirit, soul, mind, emotion. Do the work, heal the trauma. This is it. This is the 11th hour we're in right now. And why time? This is important. Why time? When you say that you know it's coming, the premonition is coming, the knowingness, and we speak it, and then people are like, well, when? Well, when? Because time is not linear, nor is time equal distant. It is a construct that can be manipulated. Even when we have a near-death experience and it seems like time slows down, well, because time in that experience, time is a manipulated construct that is manipulated by both sides, and God is saying, I won't cross anyone's will. So that supersedes all timelines, because where people are waking up in the process, God's not going to force anyone. But there is coming a time where the last person on earth will choose, and that's it. And I don't know what they'll choose, but that's the time when all this finally can be done, and we shall ascend into the next, while those who chose not to will stay. And
I always say it's that heaven on earth or hell on earth, but we won't interact with each other.
Yeah.
So as these old systems are crumbling, what I also noticed, it may help people, what Spirit showed me was that as we all wake up, right, and we move more to this heaven on earth, we will experience less chaos or trauma. So we will, we're more ready to go than the people that want to live on a hell on earth. So those are the ones that are going to lose everything, and they're going to lose loved ones, and they're going to lose their finances, and they're going to lose their house, and they're going to, and they got to keep going down the rabbit hole because they chose to go blah, 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 blah. Everybody else, it's like when I talk to people on the energy of finances, do you know that so there's been, when you look energetically and you listen to intuitives, now I know it's been co-opted a lot, but most people that are drawn to things like silver, gold, and cryptocurrencies are very aware. They understand what's going on in the world. Most of them understand. So get out of, I'm not talking technicals, I'm saying most people understand we need to change the system. They also understand these have all been very corrupted and manipulated, but they also understand there's a way to get it out of their hands that way, right? So it's new earth we will go through it, but you're not going to starve. You're not going to have lack. You're going to be very connected. You'll figure out how to maneuver, and the doors will open, and we'll all eventually come together more, working together, playing tomorrow, like together, loving each other more. relationships are pulling apart because the aware have to come over
So
here.
many relationships. Yes.
Yeah, because they vibrated. So now, and this is something I would love, actually, Lucas, your perspective on this, because I was looking at this vision of all these people pulling apart,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see all their, so one half is over here and one
Yeah.
half is in hell on earth. Okay. So they're moving and they're leaving. And then I'm like, oh my God, people over here doing the work are going to find what we would deem our soulmate or a life partner.
Yes.
Okay. So some people are coming over here already, like you guys are already life partners.
Yep.
But then we find life partners. And then I'm like, oh, there's the next key, because when a man and a woman come together, right, and they love into the soul partnership, the energy strengthens, which then means the bond, it becomes unbreakable, which means now you can't break the family unit, which is what they did, right? And they seeded all their garbage in there to break the family unit. Yep. Now we come even stronger back to God. And then we build this heaven on earth stronger. Yes. With the union and partnerships of who, so your energies might shift. I'm not just saying men, I'm just saying, however, as long as you're loving come together. There's always, we know people always have to clarify, but a lot of my friends, if they're in male relationship, whatever, one's always more dominant in the female or the male energy. So that's what I'm talking about, guys, energetically. So you love who you want to love and be kind, but you can see then the family comes together, then it can't be broken. And then there's another game over, because now the manipulation stops and we become this nucleus of all these very tied together units of love.
Yes. Yes. And there is, the same Hebrew word that God's used in Genesis 1:27, where he said, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, is the same Hebrew word that he used to Noah that said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So the male and female structure of Genesis 1:27 was not the first male and female structure, which the Bible is not an anthropologic book in the first place. So people that use it as such are not getting it, but there's always been a replenishing. There's always been a renew. There's always a new. Noah was a renew. And this, what you're talking about, is replenishing, is bringing a new in. And it is going to be beautiful. And yes, the separations are fascinating and also very exciting, because those who find their energetic draw on this side it's unbreakable. It's immovable. It's beautiful. And it's sovereign and holy.
And game over. It's creation. Like it is manifestation at light speed.
Yes, that's right.
At light speed.
Yeah. So good. It's so good. I love
it. I love when we have our conversations, because we verify so much of what you
it's amazing.
And really what I see and feel. And for people listening, it's, again, I think that's the biggest thing, like you said this morning, we can all feel disconnected. If anyone tells you they never feel disconnected, they're full of shit. Like they really are, because we're all learning. We're all just, like I said, we've come up the ladder, but we have other ladders to keep going. And we all have moments of uncertainty, or maybe the moon's ripping something off and you're having a fear around, your love or your connection or your wealth vibe or whatever. It's normal. It's how we ascend. Look at it.
Yeah.
Shift it. Yeah.
This is amazing. You're amazing. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. And everyone, if you're watching or wherever you're listening and watching, comment, like Tracy said, share. What are your thoughts on what's going on? What are you seeing? How are you feeling? One of the greatest data points of that, the good is winning, is the dislike button on YouTube has been disabled. I mean, it's still there, but it doesn't show the counts because of how many dislikes Trudeau and Biden are getting. And so we just keep going and we keep sharing with one another, and the souls that I've connected, even on YouTube alone, it's just some amazing truth tellers, and there is so much beauty. We just have to detach from the darkness when it feels like it's overpouring, and like that's never the truth. So where's the light? And then be it. So this was light. You are light. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're exactly right. People have to keep remembering that when you're having that little down day, and just come and share, and and don't be afraid to say, I'm feeling a little low. I need some help.
Yeah.
Feeling a little low. I need some help, because all of us, it's a roller coaster,
Yeah.
and it's okay to feel that roller coaster, because every blinder and filter that comes off is going to give you a whole new perception. And with a new perception, it means you got to digest that.
Yeah.
It's shifting your reality now.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank
What a
you.
blast.